My name is Karen Simmons, and I was born in Oklahoma City. I was raised in Florida. My parents actually my father was an aeronautical engineer. My mother worked for Pan American Airlines, so I got to travel the world and see life from many different perspectives, which I believe gave me a unique perspective to see the world through many different lenses. And I grew up in a very different environment because I was always moving. I went to 4 different high schools, so resiliency was my middle name. I moved to, yeah, I guess we can cut some of this out, but I mean, I went to the 4 different high schools, and I went to Georgia, Florida, California, Seattle, all across the United States, all around the world. I developed a passion for gemology because my great uncle was one of the 3 people who put the granite in the Texas Capitol in Austin, Texas, which I think is pretty amazing. They carried the granite from Marble Falls to the Capitol, and on burroback. So that was back in the day when they didn't have too much transportation. It probably it was a lot of heavy lifting. I guess we talk about heavy lifting these days, but that was real heavy lifting. We polished rocks, and I fell in love with the earth, fell in love with geology, gemology, and ultimately I grew up and went to join the Air Force. I was a medical service specialist for 4 years, and then I became a lifeguard. And that was like, this is really a life story, but anyway, I was a lifeguard for a while. As any young teenager, got into different situations, and went off. Then I decided to become a gemologist. Went to GIA, went to the Gemological Institute of America. Again, continued traveling around the world, and went to the mines, got into the mines. I wanted to really experience life 100%, everything, not just looking, but experiencing what people would actually experience. So I went to Thailand, India, Africa, Sri Lanka, everywhere, and got to experience what it was like for the miners, got to experience what it was like to be in that trade. I went to Seattle. I went to had jewelry stores there. We actually at one time we had an emerald, a 10-carat emerald in the Emerald City when they named it the Emerald City, and had a contest. And it was really, really nice because we had this great contest and people entered it in. And Como did this program of finding the emerald in the Emerald City, and it was really fun. So I like to do really exciting things like that. One time we had jewelry stores in Edmonton, Alberta, and we married a couple on a billboard, and it was really fun. Anyway, I like to do exciting different things. So we ended up I married somebody who moved to Canada. Actually, I married a few people, but anyway, I married somebody, moved to Canada. I ended up having 7 children, 2 of which were diagnosed with, one with autism and one with neurodiversity. When my first son was diagnosed with autism, I shifted gears, and still had our jewelry stores. We had 8 jewelry stores, and I changed careers and became very, very much involved in the autism community. And I wrote 14 books. I hosted over a period of 30 years, 72 conferences across North America. Several in Orlando, some in New York, California, Toronto, some small conferences, some big conferences, but I learned a lot about autism, and I hosted these conferences, and I brought the experts, Temple Grandin and Stephen Shore, many, many different experts, to bring their areas of expertise across, the whole, all the parents and professionals. Because when I found out about autism, I didn't know where to go. I had no idea what to do. At first, I was in denial. I didn't know where to look, what to do. I was told about my son's autism outside of a Safeway parking lot, sitting in the parking lot, and it was very scary because the doctor told me that my son's going to end up in an institution. And I know a lot of parents are told that story, even probably to this day. It's a very heart-wrenching story, and it's got to stop. It's got to stop. People have to have the information. Even back then in 1998, when I decided to write a book, Little Rain Man, back in those days, I wanted to educate the parents and the professionals. So each year, my son, I didn't have to explain to everybody what Jonathan was all about. So the story continued on and on and on. And at this, well, I mean, I'm trying to laser through this story, but I mean, it's very, very intricate. And, you know, 30 years is a long time. There's a lot of different things that have happened during those 30 years. Um, he's doing very well, but I mean, of course, there's a whole bunch of things that have happened during that time. I've written books. I brought these experts together. Each one of these experts has a wealth of information, all the way from early intervention to pre-early intervention, signs to watch for even before people are diagnosed, children are diagnosed at the age of 6 months, even things to watch for before that time. To adolescence, to what's going on, things that when children are bullied in the schools, things of looking for a job, when what how to find and focus on the gifts, strengths, and talents of people with autism and neurodiversity is just critical, because so much time is spent on focusing on what's wrong with people. We need to focus on what's right with people and how to shift the attitudes of people in the world. Like, that's what I really, really want to do, and what I've always wanted to do is help people see the good in people. I took a course in 1996 with Dr. Jerry Jampolsky through the Center for Attitudinal Healing in Tiburon, California. And it taught me so much about shifting attitudes and choosing our beliefs and believing in that we can choose our thoughts, we can choose our beliefs, we can choose how we want to feel. And people, sometimes they don't believe that we can do that, but we can. It may not be easy. And I can tell you, living in a house with 8 people, because my other son that I had when I was 19 wasn't living with us at the time, but living in a house with 8 people, because I had 6 of my children within a period of 9 years, can be very, very stressful and very challenging, especially when 2 of them have higher needs than everybody else. It's not always easy to choose your own thoughts and your own feelings, but it can be done. And there's a lot of things that go on in that kind of a volatile situation. I mean, we had mixed cultures, culture family. I was married at the time to an Italian, and we had a lot of different cultural values. And I know that some families do have these challenges, especially when the world is very um, eclectic and very different. People are all different. They all share different beliefs, but having a resiliency and having the ability to bounce back and be understanding and listen to what other people think and what other people believe, and valuing other people's perspectives, is one of the biggest lessons I have learned in my life. Um, so I can't say it's a bowl full of roses. Roses do have thorns with them too. Um, it's now in this part of my life, I'm in my 70s. I can say I feel like I'm just getting started. And I know that sounds really silly, but I do. I feel like I've got so much to do. There's so much I want to do. My kids look at me and say, "Mom, aren't you ready to retire?" And to me, that's such a foreign thing to even think about, because there's so much that I want to do, and there's so much that needs to be done, and there's so much that I feel like I am a young person in an older body, and it's I'm not the one that usually ends up rambling. I'm the one that usually ends up listening. I've written several books, well, actually 14. So I started out with my book, The Little Rain Man. It's called Little Rain Man: Autism Through the Eyes of a Child. It's actually I have a testimonial from Temple Grandin, and it was really fun because I was very timid at first when I first started down this pathway, and I was I wanted to get Temple to look at the pictures and the book when I first wrote it, and I ran into her in an elevator and handed her the manuscript, the rough for manuscript before I sent it in. And I ran into her 6 months later, and she scolded me. She says, "Karen, you're the one who forgot to put your name on the back of the book. I was trying to get in touch with you because I want to use some of those pictures in my presentations." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So then I gave her the book, gave her the permission to use the pictures, and so she uses the pictures out of the book in her TED presentations. But we've since become fast friends. That's one of the first books that was the first book that I wrote. Then I wrote The Autism Experience, Stories of Hope and Love, which is kind of like a chicken soup because I was trying to talk Mark Victor Hansen and Jack Canfield into doing a chicken soup book. And finally I did. So I have a Chicken Soup for the Soul, Children with Special Needs book, which has stories about families of different types of special needs, including autism, because they wouldn't do a standalone autism book. But we got 5,000 stories that were sent in from all walks of types of special needs for that book. And it was a very, very good book. I still have 4,900 stories left over, but it kind of speaks to the fact that there's a lot of stories out there that are waiting to be told, and that I would love to do another book with them, or another, call out to have people tell their stories, because they are just oozing, they really, really want to be told. I also did 2 autism books, one Autism Art by Those with Autism, and then The Art of Autism. And those are actually picture books of people that have autism, and they sent me their lovely, lovely pictures, including one that with Temple Grandin, one with Bernie Rimland's son, Mark Rimland, and some other very famous artists by now. I also have, the official Autism 101 manual, which was a labor of love, time, energy, and wonderful, wonderful experts and authors from all over, including Temple, including Stephen Shore, Barry Prezant, 53 authors that's how many authors we had. And to get that many authors to agree on being in a book, not once, but twice, was amazing. I won the gold medal IPPY award for that book, and in the medicine category. So that was huge. So then there was also Perfectly Clear, Buying Diamonds for Pleasure and Profit. I can never let go of my diamond side of me. I love gems. I love gems because they're not because of the value, but so much as the beauty and the wonder. And even when I go out to conferences, this is what I do. When I do my presentations, I'll pass a star sapphire out to the audience, and I will have the people in the audience look at the star sapphire, take out their little flashlights, shine it on the star, and when they see the star, that's like shining the light on their children, because when you shine the light on the star, then that's when the brilliance comes out on the star. If you don't shine the light, then you don't see the star. But if you do shine the light, you bring out the beauty of the star. So I talk about that, and everybody loves that. And it's like life, isn't it? It's like if you focus on the gifts, the strengths, and the talents, and the beauty and the wonder of people, that's what you get. If you focus on the negatives and you just don't pay any attention, then you don't see the beauty. You don't see the magnificence that people are. So when I decided to do the World Autism Summit, it was partially because I wanted to do, like, what's next? What is next for me to do? And it was like, it wasn't happening. No one was doing it. And one of the board members that we had has this saying of, well, why not? It's like, why do something, but why not do something? And it's for me to do, because I have the perspective of these different people in my life, these experts, these professionals, these speakers, all that I know, the people that I've brought to these different conferences, the people that I meet every time I talk to them on LinkedIn, or talk to them in my professional career, or that I have in my books, or that I've met along the pathway of autism. There's just I'm a gemologist by trade, always will be. I love my gems. I love the gems in my kids. I love the gems that I meet in my autism community, because every single one of these people are gems. Every single person at the World Autism Summit, the speakers that I brought together are gems in their own right. So that was it, was why not? Why not, Karen? Why not do this? And it's like when you have nothing to lose. I mean, like, why not do it? And why not bring the wealth of these people to the forefront and bring this juicy information out for everybody to find? And so the mission of what we're doing is finding neurodiversity, understanding and neurodiversity, and making it helping people on this pathway the fastest way possible, and helping people to understand and create bridges of success, for people, so everybody is empowered to be their personal best. And I mean, it goes on, but I mean, that's really, really what we want to do. And we also want it to be an unbiased platform. So we don't want it to be a silo. It's not the Karen and Simmons show. It's not the Autism Today show. It's not the World Autism Summit show. It's the everybody show. It's for everybody to benefit from. We have one planet, planet Earth. We have one humanity. It's for all of us. It's for all of us to matter. Every single human being matters. Every single person is here to be on the planet for a reason. Every person is different. Every person is unique. So I would challenge everybody to do one thing today, and that is, take a moment to stop and talk to the person in a wheelchair. I know we all look to the person who's pushing the wheelchair, but stop and talk to the person in the wheelchair if you're afraid, or stop and talk to the person that you're most afraid to talk to, and engage in a conversation. A lot of times, I've heard that people that have autism, or that are autistic, or however you want to frame that, want to talk to people, even if they're non-speaking, even if they're wherever they are on the spectrum. They want to engage with people because ultimately they're human beings. They matter, and they want to have social needs just like everybody. So I would just challenge you to be with them. Another person that we have at the conference, Patty Beach, is a very good friend of mine. I've known her all of her life. In fact, I spent time with her family in Venezuela. And like 3 months, we knew their family growing up. And what she has written is called the book, The Art of Alignment. And a principle that she has brought out is called Shuva. And what that stands for is to be seen, heard, understood, valued, and appreciated. And I would say that those words are so powerful and so important for all of us to be seen, heard, understood, valued, and appreciated. And if we all do that, if we all embrace that, the world would be a much better place. So I hope you come out to the World Autism Summit. It is free for the week that we have it. It is going to help us grow our organization, and it will also help everybody in the world. It's a World Autism Summit. It's meant for every single country, every single person, every single body. So thank you very much for listening to me, and I hope you come and register for the conference, for the summit.